Hey there, folks. It's the frequency from beyond space and time, at the same time, every time. You're listening to Mad Tower Radio.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Big 50 for Mad Tower Radio. That's right, episode 50. My name is Dan, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Christian. Ryan, still on sabbatical.
Hello.
And on this show, if it's your first episode, we talk about ghost schools, cryptids, conspiracies, movies, books, horror influence kind of shit. But today I'm running a special for you, and I wanted to make the show actually scary. I said a couple weeks ago that I was going to do a series on real weapons. Stuff that is just out there on a shelf somewhere in a room that somebody could turn into a weapon and kill you with. You know? That's what I got for today.
Like a napalm?
So when I got
something?
the idea to do this segment, I wanted to do 3 weapons. One biological, one conventional, and one electronic. And like conventional, I mean like something that somebody would deploy to the battlefield. Like that a guy or a crew would be using. You know what I mean? And
strictly in a military sense?
Yeah, a conventional weapon's probably going to be more like standard issue military kind of thing. But besides the point, today we're talking about the biological weapon. What I got for y'all is anthrax. Because yeah, it's a biological weapon, has been used as a biological weapon. Do you know anything about it?
I know the
music group, Anthrax.
known as Anthrax. Is it more or less aggressive than, I don't know, asbestos?
Well, I don't know too much about asbestos.
Asbestos is like a slow working, toxic building material that it doesn't kill you in a minute. Is it like mustard gas?
Oh yeah,
no.
Right it's so. Anthrax is not going to, vaporize you in like 3 days now. I mean, yeah, it will. It'll kill you pretty quick if you catch it, but like, yes, you do have time to get to the hospital and get the medicine and blah, blah, blah. And I don't blame you for not knowing anything about it because it is so fucking rare of a thing to get that, if there's a spike in it, that people start looking at it automatically as like, okay, is this some kind of weapon attack? Because there's like less than 2,000 cases worldwide every year.
Of anthrax exposure or like anthrax poisoning? Like
so
what
anthrax is as I said, it's a biological weapon. So anthrax is actually the infection, the virus that is caused by Bacillus anthracus. I just was getting so fucking lost in the weeds as I was reading more and more about the like scientific aspect of getting in the weeds on like toxicology and spike proteins and all that kind of shit. But basically, it's bad if you get it, right? And you can get it. You can get it in four spots, or well, you can get it 4 ways pretty much. So you can get it on your skin. And it's the most common form. And it's got a pretty low mortality rate, but it causes like these gross ass looking black skin lesions that are
okay. That's
very unsightly.
Scary.
Yeah, I just sent you a pretty tame picture of one.
Oh god, I don't know if I'm ready to start looking at like battlefield poison. Oh, that's a tame one? Huh?
Yeah, dude, Bacillus anthracus.
That looks like the Venom dude.
I know.
Like he's breaking out of his neck.
It does look like the symbiote's coming out.
Holy shit.
It has an onset of 1 day to 2 months, so take that into account. But you can also get it through injection. You can breathe it in, which makes it great for putting in a fucking bomb. And the lungs are the ones that it may take up to 2 months for symptoms to start showing. And you can get it gastrointestinally.
Gastrointestinally.
It's weird because the symptoms almost change depending on where you get it.
That's very interesting. Like, depending on how it's applied, it can have different
Yeah,
effects to you.
it's really fucking nuts. The skin gives you those ulcers, those lesions. Inhalation
Mm-hmm.
gives you fever, chest pain, shortness of breath, and intestinal gives you diarrhea with blood. Injection form gives you like a fever and an abscess at the site of the drug injection. Now, who was the first to say we should turn this into a weapon? Got any guesses?
A United States colonel.
Wrong.
Fuck.
It was Unit 731 of the Imperial Japanese Army.
Oh my god.
And while it's not the focus of the episode, I had to read. I got reading about Unit 731 to find the Anthrax, and oh my fucking god, man, they were just doing everything that they could to fucking people.
To like
have you read about any of that?
I would say I'm fairly well educated on the war crimes catalog.
Yeah. See Men Behind the Sun and all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool. Okay. But yeah, they not only was it anthrax, but they pretty much like kick-started like modern biological weapons research.
Sure.
They were even reviving the bubonic plague out there. Who was running Unit 731? That's right, General Pestilence.
This shit's like medieval throwing decrepit bodies over the walls type shit.
Medieval plague, and like they're just standing there in their fucking like plague doctor uniform, just standing over the body. See them writing down on a notepad what happens when you stab them with anthrax.
So is anthrax a chemically produced like product? Does it arrive in nature?
So it will arrive in nature. It'll mostly it's spores, right? It's spores. Because it's a biological, it's spores. So that's how they put it in a bomb as they dry out spores. They put the bacteria on it.
That's
and all that shit.
It sounds like they're making like a bullet shell, and you stick like a portobello mushroom in the fucking casing.
Pretty much, you stick you dip that shit in a vat of Bacillus anthracus. You dry it out. You dry out the spores so that they get carried on the air. And
okay,
just fucking send them on out.
And was the Japanese army in a particularly good place to discover it? Like, is the spore or the mushroom or whatever native to that region?
No, it's pretty much all over the earth. They find it in animal waste.
Ah.
Yeah, it appears often in animal waste.
Oh god. I'm looking at anthrax pics now. Oh fuck.
They get pretty bad.
Ooh.
They get pretty bad, man.
Yeah. Ooh.
There's no official death count because how could you keep track?
Sure.
But with a mix of cholera, anthrax, and plague weapons testing, they were estimated to have killed 400,000 civilians.
Okay, that's a lot.
Yeah. So it works. It works, you could say. But now I don't want to throw all the blame on Unit 731 over there because the British Army was not far behind when they planned Operation Vegetarian, in which their strategy was to drop thousands of anthrax-laced food pellets that they called cattle cakes on the countryside of Germany.
Come on.
Yeah. Because it's attacking from every angle with the anthrax. You can feed it to the cows and kill all the cows. You can fucking put it in the air and kill all the people. And when you take out the food and the people, what else is
the
left,
imperialist dream? It's a multi-purpose war crime.
It doesn't technically scorch the earth. You can always get more cows and people. But yeah, they developed it on some island called Gruenhard Island, and they were so fucking bad at it that they fucking pretty much made that island a no-go zone until like the 90s.
Like completely infected this like island to make it just a death hole.
Yeah, waited until like Anthrax cleanup tech was good enough to like go clean up the fucking island.
That's miserable.
Now, we can safely say that the U.S. Army did not deploy any anthrax-based weapons in warfare, but they were on our shelves in our storerooms all the way up until the 1970s when we signed the bioweapons treaty. So it's pretty scary to think that, like, up until 1972, the U.S. Army was like, we got them. They're on the shelf, motherfucker.
Like, we haven't, but we could. Give me a reason. Okay.
Now, the cool part, not cool, but the interesting part about this is that, so, you know how I said the UK had one, and the Unit 731 was fucking testing with it too. Those were all strains of anthrax that they engineered specifically for the weapon.
Okay.
So there is 89 strains of anthrax out there. And they've been developing them for fucking weapons use, man.
So I think the biggest I don't know if memory is the right word, but the biggest thought I have when you mentioned anthrax is those terrorist attacks that happened like the week after 9/11.
Uh-huh.
Is that like a specific strain?
So yeah, we're gonna talk about that strain here in a little bit. But the 2001 anthrax attacks are fucking wild. But yeah, they like when they ruined that Gruinard Island in the UK, it was with their Volume 1B strain that was developed for their bioweapons programs.
It's like they're fucking like vintages of wine.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's pretty much like that. Everybody was like fucking putting their own spin on it, like, oh yeah, our anthrax is going to be way better than yours.
Oh, Gruinard Island?
Russia's got one that you can't find any fucking info on. It's called... Oh, here it is. Anthrax 836. And I can't find any fucking info on it, except a LA Times article called it the most potent and virulent.
The strongest. Okay.
Yeah, the strongest. And it was... There's more information on the guy who developed it. If you click on the like follow link on Wikipedia for strain 836, it just leads you to the Wikipedia page for this guy Ken Alabak, who that's not his real name, that's the Americanized version. It's Kanatzan Alabekov.
Okay, so a Russian dude.
This is supposedly the man who made it. He's Kazakhstani, actually.
Okay. I mean, was he a Soviet?
So, he lived in the Soviet Union until 91.
Okay.
He lived in Kazakhstan from 91 to 92. And he has lived in the U.S. since 92 onward.
And he's putting his biological research to good use now?
I guess so. I hope so.
Okay.
I mean, as long as it's not biological weapon search against me, then yeah, I guess so.
Oh my god.
I guess he's using it for good.
I mean,
but so I wasn't able to find too much on the specifics of the strain 836. But I have found, and you're never going to believe this, I have found an unsourced story on the internet that is supposedly about this strain 836, in which in 1979 there was an accident that was called the biological Chernobyl, supposedly.
Okay.
And it was because fucking, I guess the Soviets were just comically uncaring with how they handled their anthrax weapons, right?
Like,
so
storing improperly?
Yeah, just listen to this story. I'm going to read it for you.
Sure.
It's pretty good. So they produce the anthrax culture to be dried and produce a fine powder for use in an aerosol, right? And this aerosol powder was supposed to be sprayed from the exhaust pipes of this rocket, right? Which sounds like a dumb fucking idea already. Why would you want it spraying out the exhaust? But large filters over the exhaust pipes were the only barriers between the anthrax dust and the outside environment. And on the last Friday of March in '79, a technician removed a clogged filter while drying machines were temporarily turned down. He left a written notice, but did not write it down in the logbook as he was supposed to. So when the supervisor showed up for the next book and didn't see anything weird in the logbook, he turned on the machine.
Nice.
And let it run for a few hours before someone noticed the filter was gone.
Just let it all out, yeah.
Yep.
That rocks.
And it just sprayed all over the town. Pretty much everyone in that factory died. They say the death toll is around 100, but I mean nobody knows because this was USSR times. And evidence was supposedly destroyed by the KGB. So
okay.
And you know, this is according to Ken himself. If he was a defector or taken in the
a whistleblower situation.
I don't think he was a defector, but I think it was like a paperclip scenario for when the USSR fell.
Yeah, when the archives opened up. Yeah, we got a lot of that stuff after the fall.
When it became like the fucking superpowers of the world first round draft pick of like broken USSR scientists.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, so, you know, apparently they got it pretty potent over there. Now our strain, the US's strain, now there's a drop of pride. We did not develop it. Our strain is a mutation. It is called the Ames strain, and it was discovered in 2001. It was discovered. Shit, I don't know. It was discovered somewhere in the 19s, but it was they isolated it within a like baby cow, and when they sent it into the U.S. Army, the return address was Ames, Iowa, so they called it the Ames strain, but it's not from Ames. I just thought that was pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
But it was the one that we were using in our weapons, I think.
A different vintage, not like a military application, you're saying?
Yeah, this one wasn't made.
Gotcha. Like a mutation or some sort of natural evolution?
Yeah, it was a natural. Okay, my bad. I misspoke. Ames strain. They started to use the Ames strain for scientific research. And it was born out of convenience, too, because they discovered the Ames strain in 1981 when the biological warfare program ended in 1969. And our bioweapons were using Volume 1B. So we were using the Brits. But yeah, I was just getting so lost in the weeds on the virulence and the plasmids and like how a disease actually infects you. I just figured the virus cells had some kind of organelle that looked like a biological syringe, you know, and it just fucking floated up to other cells and was like...
Just like infects them, like pokes them.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I mean, I don't know shit about how infection or bacteria works, so your image is just as good as like what I could come up with.
I don't know. When you ask an actual scientist all this stuff, they just tell you about the data. They don't tell me if the fucking little spikes or if the little cell down there has spikes on him and he's just pricking these other fucking cells. But that's what I do want to know.
The one thing I'm not sure about is it a death sentence if you get infected? Is there any kind of treatment you can have? Or, like, if they say, sorry, brother, you got anthraxed, like, it's 2 months and then you're going to become a symbiote?
From what I am gathering, it's as soon as you know that something's wrong, like, you can't be the kind of guy, like, if you catch anthrax and you're the kind of guy who's like, there's nothing wrong with me until I go to the hospital. Yeah, you're dead. You are dead. You know?
All right.
But, like, if you're the guy where, like, the second you cough, you're like, I gotta go to the doctor, then you're gonna be fine. And if you're somewhere in between those two, the closer you are to the calling the doctor one, the greater chances you have of living.
Is there treatment or vaccine or anything?
There's a vaccine. There's a
I got fucking vaccine?
Anthrax. Yes, I got anthrax vaccinated when I was in the Army.
Oh. Is that standard issue or just like people they
It is.
Like suspect?
So I don't remember. The Army sticks you with like 1 trillion needles.
Sure.
Like every other month they're just like needle time. So I don't know what's mandatory. Like there's some that are mandatory as soon as you join the Army, and then there's some that are mandatory if it comes up that you're going overseas.
Hey, you're going here, let's get you this.
Yeah. Like they almost sent me on some like border mission when I first got in, so they drugged me up with all the shots anyways, just in case.
Mm-hmm.
And holy shit, man. You just leave a Band-Aid on it for a couple days, it'll be alright. But the smallpox one was nuts.
Did it fuck you up?
I had to go to basically a class on how to take care of my smallpox wound, because it's not just like any vaccine where they just prick you and you're good. No, they prick you, and the spot where they prick you, that is live smallpox for the next like month.
See, the only experience I have with smallpox vaccines are the fucking American Revolution version, where they just cut your palm with a knife that has smallpox on it. And then it just festers in your hand, and you survive that, and you're inoculated.
No, I can't.
It sounds like you're doing the exact same thing.
I mean, that's pretty much how it's going to go with smallpox. I mean, they've mitigated it. It's nothing like that where I got to worry about this festering wound on my hand. But like, yeah, you're going to have a small patch of smallpox on your body that is live and infectious, and you got to keep that shit covered.
Okay, it takes a little more like care than a regular old vaccine.
Yeah. You got to keep it covered. You got to change the bandage. That's pretty much it. Keep it dry, keep it covered, keep a bandage on it.
Damn, even that's scary. Like even when you get vaccinated.
Yeah. You know, like it was fucking scary. But the anthrax one, no, nothing happened.
Interesting.
But yeah, I got vaccinated for it.
Is that a lifelong inoculation?
Probably not. I think you got to get them renewed, like, I think 10 years for anthrax. Yeah, but the smallpox one is for life. But no, I would not fucking slit my hand with a smallpox knife. Why the hand? Why not, like, the back of your calf or something?
Dog. George Washington needed these boys vaccinated, and he needed it done quick.
So you're gonna fucking put smallpox on one of two hands they need to hold a rifle and shoot redcoats?
Yeah. I mean, this shit's like the 1770s, bro. You stub your toe and it's lights out.
He must have done something right. I mean, he did win.
They won that bitch, yeah.
Oh man, that's fucking funny. No, I think that it's either Ames or Volum which is used in vaccines.
You just said two words that don't mean anything to me.
The Ames strain and the Volum strain of anthrax are what's used in the anthrax vaccines.
Oh, thank God. I thought you were talking about like parts of the cell. I was like, I have no idea what a Volum is.
No. The Volum strain. But yeah, it's pretty well vaccinated against. No one gets it nowadays. Like, there's less than 2,000 natural cases, like, ever.
Okay, so it's pretty well controlled by this point.
It is pretty well controlled, which is why if there's ever a spike in it, they're immediately like, this is bioweapons.
Some malfeasance is going on. Okay.
The 2001 anthrax attacks. So do you know anything about them at all?
I know that guy wrote a letter that was like "Death to America, praise Allah."
No. So
is that a different one?
I think that's a different one.
Oh fuck!
So, first of all, they happened in 2001, right? So everybody thought that it was Al Qaeda. Everybody was like, "This is
9/11
it's Al
round
Qaeda.
2.
It's got to be Al Qaeda." Yeah, right. Then they didn't have a person of interest until 2007. Yeah, and they didn't have a guy until fucking 7 years later, man. Like, that is absolutely insane to me. And then they find this guy, or well, they finally get a guy who they're like, okay, yeah, this is the Death to America notes are real. Allah is great, yeah. And it was sent to like senators and politicians and just all that fucking wild shit, you know.
I feel like I remember
Zodiac
that. Like
shit.
they mailed that bitch to him.
Yeah, they were mailing that shit to senators and all that crazy shit, man.
The closest thing I have to knowing about that is I think there's a House of Cards episode where they mail anthrax, or there's an anthrax mail scare.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Does it look like a white powder?
Yeah, it does. When you refine it down to that powder, it does just look like a white powder. But yeah, he was just lacing up these letters, and the accused is this guy, Bruce Edward Ivins. Look at this fucking white bread, white toast motherfucker, dude.
This dude looks like he should be buying out lobbyists, not sending anthrax to people.
Yeah, he looks like a senator.
He does.
But no, he worked at the United States Army Medical Research Institute of Infectious Diseases, which I have to imagine that the regulars just call it like AMRID or something.
They call it the anthrax zone.
They call it the Anthrax Festival. But yeah, he was suspected. They suspected another guy, but he got exonerated. But the thing is, it's like pretty much unsolved, because the second that it was brought to this guy's attention that the CIA was likely to bring charges against him, he killed himself.
I mean, that kind of seems like an admission of guilt to me. I don't know, like, law, but, you know.
Right. But then it's like, the smoking gun was they had his DNA on an anthrax vial that came from his lab. You know,
but
worked at the Medical Institute of Infectious Diseases.
Yeah, Dog's a scientist. I'm sure he's touching vials and shit.
Yeah, and so the National Academy of Sciences, they reviewed this study by the FBI, and they kind of discredited it and said, like, yeah, there's not enough info to prove that he was working alone or that he was the sole fucking guy working on this, you know? And the FBI was pretty much just like, well, this isn't a science book. This is an investigation. You don't get all the answers.
That's unsatisfying. Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, at least that's what they're saying. Maybe they knew and handled it further up the chain, and we're like, you don't need to know.
See, I just sent you a picture. I recognize this letter. Is this did they use fake letters, or are these like hoax?
No, that is real.
Evidence?
That is real. The letters were real.
Why is he like praising?
I don't know.
I'm confused.
100%. We do not have the full story with the 2001 anthrax attacks. I don't know if he was working with Al Qaeda or if he was just fucking cracked out working alone.
Okay. Because, I mean, he's in, like, the bioweapons lab. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It's fucking nuts, isn't it? It was crazy to me that that the FBI just kind of had to do a shrug for this viral terror attack, you know?
They're like,
not really viral.
I mean, I bet the CIA were a little taxed that week. 9/11 had happened like 5 days prior.
That's probably why the FB team eyes on it.
Yeah, I'm sure they were like, listen, dog, we got a huge fish to fry today. Like, let this freaker walk.
They're like, listen, FBI, go investigate the anthrax attacks. We're still dealing with 9/11.
Damn. He attacked Chuck Grassley, that old son of a bitch.
Apparently so.
That's crazy. And now, let me see if I'm reading this right. He died by swallowing, like, a bunch of Tylenol?
Yeah, he fucking Tylenol freaker, bro.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, is like the sort of thing where you have to have special access to it to be able to, like, commit this kind of terrorist attack? Like, would somebody on the street hypothetically have the ability to create enough anthrax or attain enough anthrax for something like this?
I do think that it's the kind of thing that you gotta, like, you would either have to be a virologist, you know, like some kind of fucking scientist, to be able to do it, like, I don't know, in a Ted Kaczynski cabin or something like that, because it looks like the process is you fucking harvest it and dry it out, and I mean harvest it from what, animal shit, you know, and then you're gonna like put that shit under a microscope and separate out all the fucking anthrax spores, and then you're gonna, like, maybe somebody could make it at home in a dirty bomb, but it seems like it's a pretty fucking controlled, really, really controlled substance now, because of the fact that it's such a rare, naturally occurring disease that most times you see it, it's going to be a bioweapon attack, you know? I'm sure that doctors have some sort of protocol where it's like, hey, if you get X amount of anthrax cases, let us know. Like, you got to tell the fucking CDC, the FBI,
the CDC,
the CIA.
yeah.
You know, I'm sure there's protocol for that, because it's just such a rare disease, man. It's something like less than 2,000 cases globally.
Does it have any kind of commercial application?
Not that I have seen.
Or it's just like a death bacteria?
Just looks like it's a death bacteria, man. That's it.
That's fucked.
You know? Yeah. It's just a death bacteria, and the only use people have ever found with it is to make it into a biological weapon.
It just absolutely fucks on people in a variety of different ways.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, and it doesn't have a smell. They're so small you won't be able to see them. They don't have a taste, so it's the perfect bioweapon for just, like, I don't know, putting it in one of those super high-flying chemtrail conspiracy theory planes and just actually making it do a fucking anthrax chemtrail.
Or shit, like, right now, slap that bitch on a drone.
Yeah, slap that bitch on a fucking drone.
You get,
anything,
like,
really.
One little hint of the perfume bottle on the end of the drone and you're done, though.
You just put it in your pocket, like pocket sand.
Like pocket sand.
Just leave a little trail. Just make sure you wash your hands.
Okay. Anthrax is pretty scary. Does the band Anthrax have any particular affiliation with bioterrorism?
Not really.
Do you like Anthrax?
I thought it was a cool topic. I thought it was fun to learn about.
Oh, I meant the thrash metal band.
Oh, yeah, I think the band's pretty good.
Okay.
I haven't listened to too much of their stuff, but yeah, I think it's pretty good. But yeah, that's Anthrax, man. It's out there, and it's scary, and it can be refined down to a nearly invisible powder, and you wouldn't even know if you inhaled it, if it got in an open cut, if it got in your digestive tract.
You know, I was thinking, when you had brought up the idea of doing these, like, horrifying weapons themes, I didn't really know how it was going to go. But that was interesting and really scary.
Well, good, I'm glad.
And it like, weaved well into, like, conspiracy sort of government malfeasance type stuff.
For sure, yeah. I definitely wanted to, like, look at Anthrax and, like, look at why it's the bioterror why it's the bioterror death bacteria. Like, why does it have that reputation? And
sure.
Yeah, it didn't disappoint. There's some interesting stories around it. Some crazy, horrifying stuff about how anthrax got developed into a bioweapon.
Yeah, I need to turn this Google image search off, because these pictures are fucking nasty. I've just been, like, doom scrolling anthrax pics this whole conversation.
And it's also crazy to trace stuff back, to be able to trace stuff back and see that, like it led back to World War II, man. Like, all roads lead to World War II and
Honestly.
shit like that. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm ready for yours. You got me excited with what you told me before the show.
Oh, yeah, my little teaser. So, for this episode, it's a very long, obtuse story to how I got to this topic, but last month, I read all of the Dark Tower books by Stephen King. I had a lot of time on my hands to have audiobooks playing at work, so I just chewed through them all. And one of the big plot points, especially in the latter half of the series, are these things called walk-ins. Now, have you heard of a walk-in before?
Like a walk-in appointment?
You know, when you look up walk-in, it's a lot of like walk-in medical facilities. But no, this is the occurrence of a extraplanar being walking into our reality.
Oh. Like that scene in Interstellar where they're like going through the fucking wormhole and then... Have you seen that movie?
No, I've not seen Interstellar.
Oh,
but I was letting you paint the picture.
If you'd have known what I was talking about, you would have been like, yeah, exactly like that.
I was ready to say, yeah, exactly like that. But essentially, it's like a spirit being transferring dimensions, transferring planes to arrive on our world.
So, like one of the theories of the Glimmer Man?
Yeah, sort of like a Glimmer Man sighting.
Okay.
And also, there's a lot of hypnosis in the back half of the Dark Tower.
Oh.
So
okay.
As I was sort of researching real-life walk-in occurrences, because Stephen cites a number of walk-in sightings happening in the New England area at the time of his writing, I came across the woman who invented the term walk-ins, and then it just became this whole rabbit hole of researching this psychotic woman, and I was like,
okay, I'm down with that.
Fuck
yeah,
Stephen
that sounds
King.
Badass.
Yeah, well, let's talk about this woman.
Oh, let's hear it.
So the progenitor of the walk-in phenomenon is a psychic / mesmerist / con woman named Ruth Montgomery.
Okay.
And like as we're sort of following Ruth's story, I'm going to talk about like her influences and the people she hung out with, because her arc is super interesting. So she was this career journalist, like a very dedicated political writer. She was like a boots on the ground type journalist. Like she was there when the coup in Egypt happened to overthrow the king. She was over at the Berlin airlift during the beginning of the Cold War. Like,
okay, so she definitely had a plate carrier that said media on it.
She was like a for real war torn journalist, like hardcore. Okay. Like she was one of the first women to be allowed to be in the Oval Office in the White House and shit when presidents were giving their talks.
Oh, that's badass.
Like a very influential writer. And her whole life changes. Her whole mind gets shattered when she takes on this gig to be a biographer for an astrologer by the name of Jean Dixon.
No way. This sounds nuts. This sounds like the perfect setup.
She is this hardcore, politically motivated writer, and then she takes a gig to write the biography for this astrologer and medium. And something just broke in her mind, I guess. And then she started, like, saying she could predict the future, and she was getting visions, and she was being contacted from another plane.
Oh my god.
And she eventually writes this book called Strangers Among Us in the 70s. About how...
So you say astrologer, right? Like, was this guy a con man? Like, was he out there, like, selling horoscopes and shit?
Oh, her name might be Jean or Jean. I don't know. It's like Jeane. But she was a psychic and astrologer.
Oh, okay, Jean. Oh, Jean.
No,
Okay.
some shit
It's a
like
lady.
that. Yeah, a nice astrologer lady, but she was a con. She was like saying she predicted the JFK assassination, and she was like reading people's fortunes and pretending to talk to the paranormal plane type shit.
Okay. So what? I mean, what was the tone she was going into this with? Like, was she like, I'm gonna fucking, I'm gonna fucking, like, I'm gonna write a hit piece on this con woman, pretty much? Like,
She, I assume, wanted to write about her because of a very famous prediction she made. Like, Miss Dixon called the JFK assassination.
oh, okay, okay. So she like, was it like vague and like a philosopher's stone kind of way, where like the leader of the free men will be have his brains removed, or was she like JFK will get shot?
She said, like, a Democrat is going to die in office in the 60s. She said this in 1956.
Okay, okay, okay. Yeah,
And
that's pretty accurate. I mean, that's vague. That's vague enough. You got pretty good odds with that prediction, but it did happen, so.
well, this helped
take
pioneer
those.
this, like your theory on probability. The Gene Dixon effect is this thing where people who make predictions are more easily associated with their correct predictions than their incorrect predictions. So if you just throw out tons of shit,
right.
you're going to get a lot of cred, and people are more likely to believe you if like one or two things out of 100 are correct.
Oh, that makes sense.
And that people are psychologically able to look past the wrong ones if you're hitting it a couple times.
Okay.
So
Makes sense.
she sort of helped pioneer this model of modern psychic.
Huh.
And
The con artist psychic?
yeah, the con mesmerist type person.
Okay. That's cool.
The other psychic entity in her life, because she had two.
I see.
She became the, I believe, protege or like the student of a man named Arthur Ford. This is our original woman, Ruth Montgomery.
So Ruth was trying to become a psychic before she met Jean Dixon.
She did this biography, and then I think she got picked up by Arthur. Like she started going to wizard school.
Okay.
So Arthur,
but did she? So she started getting these visions with Jean, though.
After her time with Jean, I believe, is the story of events, or the sequence of events.
Okay, so she does the biography on Jean, and then now she has wizard powers.
She's like, hold on, things are making sense around here.
Okay, things are getting a little wizardy around here. I got you now.
And she gets picked up by Arthur Ford, who was a very famous spiritualist / sect priest, like Southern Catholic priest. Or he wasn't Catholic. He was like Southern, some offshoot denomination priest, I should say.
Okay.
And this dude is full on in, like, he was in World War I reading off the names of soldiers who are going to die in the war days before they were on the casualty list.
What the fuck?
Like, long con, super spiritualist. He was giving lectures on his powers, and Sir Arthur Conan Doyle was like super into him. He was like, this is the greatest psychic of my time.
That's crazy.
And his big claim to fame was that he said that he was talking to Harry Houdini after his death.
Oh, okay, all right.
And Arthur Ford was like abusing Houdini's children, being like, your dad's talking to me, he's sending me messages, like, do you want to hear what he has to say?
I'm glad to know that using fellow dead famous people to further your fame is not a new thing.
Nah, dude. In the 20s.
Like, goddamn.
He was running this I'm gonna talk to dead people con.
Mm-hmm.
So he had been working his trade for a very long time by the time he picked up Montgomery. And the big thing for Montgomery was that Arthur Ford taught her automatic writing.
What?
Yes.
What is this automatic writing?
He taught her, so you just put your hand on the paper or you put your fingers on the typewriter and you commune with the spirits and they type out the messages. This is how you get prophetic texts from the spirits.
Oh my god, bro.
So with this technique, Montgomery made all of these fucking schizo books that got really popular in the 70s.
What are some of the hits?
Strangers Among Us. The World Before, Threshold to Tomorrow, Aliens Among Us.
Okay.
She popularized the common superstition that having a birthmark on your body is where you were killed in your past life.
Really?
Like she was like influencing a lot of this like mesmerist psychic culture that we have today.
That's interesting.
And her big theory was the walk-in theory. That I know a more specific iteration of this is that a person's soul can leave the body and sort of have this empty vessel that another soul from another plane can enter in and manifest itself through.
Really?
So like a two spirits type thing. And at the time of her writing, she was saying things like, there are about 10,000 walk-ins in the United States right now. She said in the 90s, a walk-in was going to be elected president.
What?
I don't think she called Bill Clinton specifically a walk-in, but she's like, yeah, by the time the 90s come, a walk-in's going to be president, and World War III is going to be started by the walk-ins. Like, she was a super doom
Oh my god.
theorist.
So the walk-ins were the bad guys, huh?
100% they are the bad guys.
And now, were the walk-ins typing these books via automatic typing? Like, is this like a, yeah, fuckers, we're coming?
Yeah, I don't know how they were also the enemies of the world, but also her ghostwriters.
Yeah, like, do her books talk at all about how do we defeat the walk-in menace?
I don't think you defeat them. I think the walk-ins defeat you.
Damn.
Damn,
Ruth's just out here selling her end of the world books.
She did some alien stuff too. She was like, aliens and walk-ins are both here. And I'm like, come on, girl, you're mixing up your stories now.
Yeah, that's wild.
Well, I feel like she was taking a page from her friend Jean Dixon. You know, throw out just as much psycho shit as you can. One of them's gonna work.
Yeah. Just throw out as much psycho shit as you can to be popular.
Yeah.
Like, were her two mentors, like, were they rich? Were they, like, particularly famous psychics?
Oh, these were two pretty popular, pretty successful psychics.
So do you think that Ruth got there and was like, yo, this grift looks easy as fuck?
I really can't tell if she was a full believer or if she was like, journalism doesn't really pay the bills, so now I'm a wizard.
Because, I guess we'd have to know more about Jean Dixon and Arthur Ford, you know? Like, were they grifters behind the scenes? Like, did that ever come out?
Those dudes were big grifter energy. Big fucking liars.
Yeah, big self-aware liars, or like actual psychos up on the stage who think it's real?
Oh, that's always the hard part with
it is
mesmerists.
I haven't been able to make that determination on Ramtha.
Oh, whether she believes it or not?
Yeah, because she wildly swings from one end of the spectrum to the other between videos. You know, so like it's hard to get the full story on like, is she cracked out? Does she believe this? Or is she just like, this is an easy grift, easy money?
I've got to think personally that they know it's some shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Or do you think that they've convinced themselves it's real? Like, they know it's not, but they've convinced themselves it is.
Maybe, like, in their later life, like, they've dug so deep that there's a combination of, like, I have to believe it to really sell it, and, oh, wait, I'm not caught, I'm not,
Because, I mean, if she's all of a sudden friends with all these mystics and psychics and shit, like, it's really easy to get caught up in the glamour and the groupthink and, like, just be like, well, fuck, maybe it is real.
Maybe I do know the truth. Maybe God is talking through me. Because all three of them also have this religious tilt to them. Ford was a priest. John Dixon was a very devout Catholic. And fucking Ruth, she was also big on the reincarnation bit. She tells people that she was there during Jesus's time. Mm-hmm. Like her reincarnated spirit was present at the circumcision of Jesus Christ, specifically.
Oh? Okay.
I don't know why she's that specific.
Do they have some kind of, like, lore? Do they have, like, characters, a lore they're trying to present?
I think they all are kind of grifting the God thing. Like, their supernatural powers come from the heavenly body.
So are the walk-ins just demons?
I think they're other souls from another dimension or another plane.
That's so wild, man. That's... Oh my god.
Now that you mention it, I'm thinking more about this automatic writing and this other spirit type thing. Maybe that's another spiritual conduit thing.
I have no idea how they ever sold anyone on this spirit automatic writing. Like, if I walked into the room and they were like, I'm going to show you my automatic writing technique, and then she just started, like,
writing a fucking book.
You're just typing!
Yeah, no, the automatic writing, I think, loses it for me. Like, if you put your hand to the page and then your hand guides you, that's something. But when you take out a typewriter and you're automatic typing, that's busted.
Yeah. Do the walk-ins know how to use a typewriter? Like...
That's true.
Is there going to be a ghost that's like, I don't know how to send a text message, go get ye old notebook?
Well, the craziest part is Ford dies in, I think, 71. Her mentor, her trainer.
Her Merlin.
She writes some of her wacky books, her most cracked books in the late 70s, early 80s. So she's like talking to her master beyond the grave type shit to fuel some of these wackier theories.
Huh.
Like, she describes, like, being told the secrets to the spirit entities. And another interesting point, I believe she might have had access to there's this this theory that Arthur Ford had access to the database of the universe, the Akashic Records, the compendium of all universal events.
Bro, you're not telling me that Arthur Ford read the Agma Infinium.
No, Arthur Ford said he had access to the Mehrunes Dagon what's his fucking name?
Hermaeus Mora?
Yeah, he's got the Hermaeus Mora Infinite Universal Records. And he was able to read them to her from beyond death.
I love cracked out sidekicks, man. This is one of my favorite topics.
I found this one so interesting because she had a whole life, a whole career before she was doing this shit.
The switch is insane. The switch is the most insane part. That one day she was like, I don't want to be the most groundbreaking journalist in modern times anymore. I'm going to be a wizard.
This is in her, like, late 30s, early 40s. She's like, now wait a minute. Maybe I can speak through God.
Did anyone in her circle, like, was this... Like, how did the public take this? Is there any info on that?
Because she was covering people who kind of got things right, she just became like a cult.
Everyone was like, she must be right too.
To sell enough books to keep the grift going.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a look at some of her predictions, okay?
Okay.
She was, of course, an Atlantis truther.
Ah, yes.
She said that World War III was going to happen in the 80s, so there's an L there.
Ooh, L.
She said Ronald Reagan would be a one-term president. There's an L there.
Yeah.
And
Wish she could have been, right?
I mean, that world? Maybe that world's better. Is all I'm gonna say. Maybe her fractal universe is the one we wanted to get on.
I know.
The walk-in president. Now I don't know if Bill Clinton was an extraplanar being, so that one's out for debate.
Yeah, that one's still being reviewed by the refs.
By the psychic refs.
Yeah, by the walk-in refs.
And
they're not sure either.
Well, they called her out. They were like, you're getting a lot of these wrong, and she was like, no wait. The walk-in president's actually going to be 2008. She put it back a couple years. Classic grift.
Nice.
But she died, I believe, the summer of 2001. So she wasn't there for Barack Obama walk-in presidency.
Damn, dude. She could have hit the nail on the head with that one.
Maybe that's where the Barack Obama lizard theories come from. Maybe she pioneered that.
Dude, maybe Barack is a walk-in.
It's got something to do with like spiritual weakness, right? Like your spirit doesn't have enough power to completely hold your body down. It vacates the body in a way that allows extraplanar beings to inhabit you. And I feel like that's sort of a way to influence people and maybe abuse, like take advantage of people's weaknesses.
You have to do what I say or else the walk-ins will get you.
Or like, oh, did that really happen to you? Or is your soul too weak and you were influenced by the spirits?
Oh, like letting people use it as an excuse.
Yeah, I think it's got enough looseness in its interpretation that you could sort of grift.
So people can project their negative qualities and the shit they do that hurts them onto the walk-in. They don't have to accept any personal responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
And you can keep coming to my classes and my seminars for $5,000. And I'll tell you how to beat those walk-ins.
With another subscription fee, I'm going to tell you how to protect your soul with the soul force.
Did she ever get into grifting like that, or was she just kind of spitting out these books?
I mean, I think the books were the grift. I think it's the 70s, She can't go on.
Sure, yeah, true. The subscription model wasn't there yet.
She didn't have a Twitch, yeah.
Because I would read those books. That doesn't really seem like a grift. I would read them. That'd be funny as fuck.
No, I've been trying to find rips of the book to get a little bit of information, but I can't find anything. I don't want to pay fucking $7 for a 1995 paperback. Yeah,
no, I'm all right. I can skip those readings.
No.
If they're not free, I'll be all right.
So
can't even predict when the walk-in president's going to accurately emerge. So why would I buy your book?
You couldn't even call World War III during the Cold War, girl?
Dumb.
That seems like an alley-oop.
She was bad at predictions, man.
Yeah, so...
Who gave her a job?
The journalism grift completely left by 1969, and she was full-time psychic by then.
Wow, that's crazy.
So... she died in 2001, so that's, 30 years of raw psychic grifting.
She didn't have any predictions for 9/11?
Nothing. No 9/11.
Damn.
I think Nostradamus took that from her 500 years prior.
Every grifter psychic was looking at fucking, the day after 9/11, they were like, God damn it!
Son of a bitch, bro.
I could have been a millionaire!
Yeah, and then Nostradamus got all that clout.
So fucking pissed. I know. Nostradamus and the fucking Philosopher's Stone. What was his actual prediction that people were likening to fucking 9/11?
It was something let me look it up. A tower burning or some shit.
Yeah.
Very vague. I watched the whole hour-long History Channel run on that once.
No, that sucks, dude. Oh, here we go. 2 steel birds will fall from the sky on the metropolis. The sky will burn at 45 degrees latitude. Fire approaches the great new city. Immediately a huge scattered flame leaps up. Yeah, I mean...
Okay, Nostradamus. Okay, you kind of got it.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. Okay.
Oh,
fuck.
Here's 2 more big L's. She said Fidel Castro was going to be ousted in the 60s. Sorry. And Russia would be the first to put a man on the moon. Sorry. You're kind of batting L's all up and down the street.
Wait, where was this woman from?
The US of A.
You're out here making fucking predictions for the wrong team.
You're not even like doing state propaganda wizardry.
You motherfucker.
Honestly,
you could at least help with the war effort.
She worked with tons of presidents. You would think like Richard Nixon at least would have been like, all right, wizards, come here. You're gonna tell them to like not smoke weed or their souls will be weakened.
Yeah, if I was fucking Nixon and I heard our psychic just said that Russia was going to get to the moon first, the CIA would be paying her a visit, dude.
Listen, girl, can you
who the
throw
fuck's
us
getting to the
little...
moon first? I heard you found out who's getting to the moon first. Who'd you say it was again?
So,
my motherfucker.
What is your thought on psychics in general, like the I'm gonna talk to the dead type? Abuse mesmerists.
It's that fucking... Well, I mean, you want my take on, like, what I say about all cryptid encounters and, like, that conviction that's there and stuff? Or, like,
I just like, what do you think about it? Specifically, like, talk to the dead grifters. It's
so fucking lame, dude. It's so lame. Like, what's there to say? You're a piece of shit. And the speak to the dead ones are on a whole nother level of a piece of shit, because you're just going in there, fucking making up whatever gobbledygook comes out of your fucking mouth, and like these people are taking that as false closure.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like all I can hope for is that these families actually feel better after the psychic leaves, and like I hope it's not like 30 seconds after the psychic walks out, they're like, well, that was a fucking waste of money. Yeah, like I at least hope they're getting something out of it, the people who are getting grifted.
You gotta think they're getting some kind of negative, like, satisfaction. Like, it's not a good satisfaction, but like, oh...
It's like, well... I mean, yeah, they probably just sit down on the couch right after and they're like, well, you know, we paid... Like, they probably treat it like a hospital bill. They're like, well, we paid the bitch. She came and did her shit. And...
I don't feel
now
great.
We can put it behind us.
Yeah.
You know, we can at least put it behind us. You know, and it's just, you know, you're taking advantage of fucking people that are in bad places mentally because they had a loved one die recently. Or it wasn't recently and they've been fucking... You're not the first guy to grift them. You know?
God, I couldn't even imagine someone going to multiple psychics.
Oh, I bet those psychics have like hundreds of weeklies, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh no, fucking Joe's coming in to talk to his grandma at 4, and fucking Zach's coming in to talk to his grandpa at 5, and I don't want to think about that. That's horrendous, man.
Do you think, like, with our modern conveniences, these grifters can, like, form, like, the psychic cabal and, like, help relay information to each other? Like, you've never seen this guy, but he's gonna come to you. And so now remember that his grandpa's middle name is this, his favorite food was this, and they're like sharing data.
Oh my god, man. I don't know. I don't know if they're teaming up or if they're competitive out there. I don't know.
I mean, fucking Ruth was forming like the Justice League for wizards.
Yeah, it sounded like it, man. Fucking Arthur Ford came out like Doctor Strange and recruited her, man. Mm-hmm. It was nuts.
Mm-hmm.
So it's weird, and I mean, I guess it's just one of those underbellies that we're not going to get to look at because you probably have to be in the community, in the know. Probably not something they talk about much online. They probably just got some code, you know. You think there's like you think you hit a high enough grift level that like you talk to a fellow grifter and like you still got the act, and they're like, you don't have to fucking pretend in front of me, man.
Like they let the mask down.
Yeah.
That's so fucked. Oh
yeah,
my
like
god.
you think Ramtha's like super tight production crew? You think she's always Ramtha around them?
No, her cameraman, she's like, listen, dude, I was tired at the sermon the other day. Just pan to the audience, bro. I need to take 5 on this throne.
Doesn't she have a bodyguard? Ain't no fucking way the bodyguard isn't in on the grift. He'd have to be.
I mean, if you're getting your check signed by Ramtha, you kind of gotta know, right?
If you're I'd say that's a fair spot to put it. Is if you're getting a check signed by Ramtha, if you're getting a check signed by one of these grifters, they know that you know that this is a grift.
I mean, I just find it so interesting that both Montgomery and Dixon were so close to U.S. presidents.
Yeah, it is weird. It is weird.
Like, I don't have all the data on this, but I know Nancy Reagan would take the advice of astrologers. Mm-hmm. She would have like court wizards come to her and give her advice a lot. What the fuck is going on here?
Mysticism was wild back then, man. So I know that there's like Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn was in the UK, but was there ever like a big US equivalent?
I think it's just more of
or
these
was the
individual
Hermetic
grifters.
Order that big?
No, I don't know if there's a guild. I think it's individual more here in the United States.
So you don't think there's a central grifter guild for these like grifter psychics?
Oh, there's a central grifter guild. It's called the fucking U.S. Bank.
It's called TLC. With Long Island Medium.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the History Channel. I wonder if our more intellectual, informative age is sort of nipping the power of these psychics away.
For sure. I really don't think it's that big of a thing in the modern era. Like the last big one I can ever think of is, like I just said, Long Island Medium. You know, but like they're just people know now. People are like, yeah, we don't give a fucking shit. We don't give a shit.
You think people are over it? The psychic craze of like the 60s and 70s?
Yeah, I think people are over it. I think people know it's pretty much all a grift now. Holy fuck. No, apparently it's not over. Long Island Medium didn't end until 20.
Let's take a look here. 14 seasons. Oh, whoa.
Doug, how do you make 14 seasons in an 8 years of running?
In the year of our Lord 2011 to 2019.
Yeah, how do you make 14 seasons?
Maybe it's just
in
like
8 years?
Trashy, like I don't believe it, but I'm having a great time watching it.
Maybe, yeah. Somebody could be like, you know, I just want my trashy TV fix.
Hey, now hold on. The Long Island Medium kind of looks like Carm. Now hold up.
You gotta relax right now.
No,
brother.
no. Hold on.
You gotta relax right now.
Let's see what she has to say. Let's talk to her.
Oh, she could probably talk to Tony.
Beyond the grave. You know her ass has contacted Tony Soprano at one point.
Oh no!
There is.
She lives in New York.
No doubt in my mind, she has talked to Tony Soprano.
Of course, somebody's been like, "Could you talk to James Gandolfini for me?"
Ask him what happened at the end of the final episode for me, real quick.
She's like the fucking Long Island mob medium, dude. Look at her. She does look like Carmela Soprano. Oh my god, man.
Things are making sense around here.
Jesus.
So we kind of got off the rails, but I just wanted it to be this sort of quick dive biopic of this one crazy woman who I mean I'm saying crazy a lot and that's a little rude, but her whole life just turned around after getting dipped into the mystic world.
No. I don't think that's rude. That is fucking crazy. That like what happened?
More like bewildering. Like what was happening in these biographer interviews you had with this psychic that made you change your entire life?
Oh my god, man! She cut her with the psychic knife, right on the palm of her hand.
gave her the walk-in vaccine, so she was immune to psychic
They gave her the walk-in.
influences.
She gave her the walk-in vaccine. She was like, "You show promise as a mystic."
I wonder if like you're interviewing this psychic and they're saying things and you're not laughing at them, so they're like, "Now hold up, my grift powers are activating."
Yeah. Ruth wasn't part of the. Ruth didn't buy the grift, so they were like, "We got to bring her in."
Your either options are like she exposes me in this book, or I turn her into like a double agent for the psychics.
Oh man, that's nuts. That's nuts.
Now I'm kind of
Well,
scared.
what if it was like a Jedi thing? You know, like they like Ruth had these like mannerisms and all this shit, and like the lady she was interviewing was like she called Arthur Ford. She was like, "I found the chosen one."
She's like, Arthur, bro. The rule of two. She's your apprentice.
Arthur, he's here. Arthur, she's here. I found her.
The most insane thing I learned about psychics the other day. They have this tactic where they will mirror your movements and your body mannerisms to like psychologically ingratiate themselves to you.
What
Like,
the fuck?
like they're watching you. They're examining your body movements, and they're like moving their wrists like you move your wrists, and they're breathing in a similar pattern to how you're breathing, and they're like by doing this sort of psychosomatic tiny body mimicry, it like psychologically makes you trust them.
Oh my god.
Wizards psychics are on a whole nother level. That's an S tier power grift. Like you have to have all this crazy shit in you to do that.
It does take some like psycho dedication and like some. Yeah, you got to be thinking like a crazy person if you're like, oh, I got to mimic their body language so they trust me more. Like you're a predator.
Honestly, you're kind of a psychic predator.
You're a predator, man. You're not. You're conditioning people
Yeah.
to believe your grift.
You're like taking advantage of bereaved people. You're like trying to psychically influence them. It's a whole horrible class
and I
of
am
people.
not here to damn all psychics because you read tarot, right? We both are interested in that kind of stuff. We both like that kind of stuff, but like not as a means to like grift a guy. You know, like I know, like I think a tarot reading is fun because what did you say about it?
Yo, I'm glad you brought that up because I'm going to bounce off of this episode and I'm going to do tarot next show.
Oh, cool.
We'll go right into it.
Cool.
And I'll try to draw the differences between the negative psychic and what I perceive as a positive psychic.
Okay, cool. Then I won't give any spoilers, but yeah, just some like, yeah, there is a good psychic and a bad psychic, you know?
Yeah, the good psychic, they look like Carmela Soprano.
Oh my god, bro. No, there's no good mediums. There is not a good medium out there. Anyone telling you that they can talk to dead people for you is just trying to take your money.
They're trying to abuse you. Yeah.
You know? And even if they can talk to psychics, like, or even if they can talk to dead people, prove it. You know? And if they do, then hey, I guess, like, okay.
And if you're talking to a prophet, like someone who's like calling predictions in the future, listen to the vague ways that they predict things. Like it's very like soft prediction that they can mold and shape into like history's events.
Yeah, a Democrat will die in office in the 60s.
Yeah, you know what?
Those,
they were
if
like
you think
old
about it, those are
motherfuckers.
50-50 odds.
That's the kind of your theory on probability leaves you like 4x Pokemon weak to psychics. you have like a mental deficiency weakness in your like theory to like be attacked by psychics.
So there's a running gag I've been committing to about probability that all probability is a lie. Right before you do anything, the odds are 50-50. Either it happens or it doesn't.
So everything is a 50-50 probability based on the outcome.
So everything is 50-50.
Like, I can predict that I'm going to bet all my money on red on the roulettes, and there's a 50-50 chance because it either fucking does or it does not happen.
It's true. 50% chance it does, 50% chance it doesn't.
You are just begging for a wizard to ruin your life.
No way, dude. No way.
Oh my.
I think it's the inverse. I think I ruined them. Right? Because, okay, she made that prediction, but that's not that hard of a prediction to make. Yeah, I can be vague. That's all it is. Just make really, really wide blanket fucking... She said a Democrat will die in office. If, like, the mayor of a fucking town of 300 had gotten shot and was a Democrat, she'd have been like, see? You know? You know?
I've worked in customer service. You just got to be confident.
She was probably right twice over. There was probably some other Democrat, some super low-level official that died of medical problems in office.
But I think she called out the president was going to die.
Oh, okay.
But still, dog, it's the Cold War. Shit was not so sicko back then.
Yeah, predicting that a president was going to get assassinated during the Cold War? Oh, wow. Wow, you really hit the nail on the head with that one.
You got your finger on the pulse of the wizards, bro. You've got spirits inheriting your body and writing down this prophetic text. And while we're petering off and taking it home for tonight, I just want to say, Stephen King doesn't come across as being like Pog for the psychics. His walk-ins are a little different, but he was influenced by this popularization by Ruth Montgomery.
He just took it conceptually, pretty much.
He uses it as like the core for his multiverse. Like you know, the Dark Tower is like a series crossover extravaganza for his books.
It is technically in the Dark Tower verse, right?
Everything is. Every one of his stories are.
Oh, really? Okay.
So, these books have been out for like 20 years. I'm afraid of what I will and will not say. But, for example, our lead, Roland of Gilead, goes to different levels of the tower, which is different universes. Like they walk into the Stand world. They walk into the Salem's Lot world.
Oh, I didn't know it was like an Infinity Train kind of thing.
It's super Infinity Train. They meet fucking Pennywise's cousin. Another
whose cousin?
Another Pennywise.
Oh my god.
Like, it's a super greatest hits.
Huh. That's really cool.
And he describes them as being walk-ins into that universe, into that level of the tower.
Oh. That's pretty cool. Well, I'm glad somebody was able to use the concept for something cool.
For good instead of evil, yeah. Thanks, Steven.
Oh, man. And to all you fucking psychic grifters out there in Radio Land, get fucked.
Find me on the astral plane if you're a psychic.
And as for the rest of you, this has been Mad Tower Radio, episode 50, Anthrax and Psychic Grifters. Christian, you got anything for the people before we let them go for the night?
Yeah. In 2033, there is going to be an outbreak of a disease, right? And it causes people to spill their secrets out on the internet. Watch out for that.
I'm also making a prediction. There will likely not be another MTR before 2022 ends.
That's a pretty safe one.
Well, this has been Mad Tower Radio.
A frequency beyond space and time.
Unspeakable knowledge. It is Mad Tower Radio.